Well, it's morning and we are here at the confluence. They call this two rivers, and this is where the Jack's Fork and the Current come together. Here at Ozark, one benefit that you won't find at a lot of national parks is a lot of parking. Parking's not an issue. It's not as busy, which I attribute to it not being a national park. You can actually find a spot and get parked. We're at the Powder Mill trailhead now. And it's actually a little underdeveloped, I would say. You know, they've got like a concrete curb over here. But on this side, this is all overgrown with poison ivy. So you pick your poison, literally, I guess. We're at the Powder Mill trailhead of the Ozark Trail. We're right here, this parking lot. So we came across from this way, from Eminence to park. And we're gonna take off, go this way. We're trying to figure out where Powder Mill is, and I have a fear that it's something that you can't access off of the river, or even worse, that Powder Mill is not around anymore. Right off the bat, you have a down tree, poison ivy, thorn bushes, and it's overgrown. You come up a incline here, and I think we got to cross the bridge. We're right here. We crossed the road. We came up from here. Down here in the campground, there's another trailhead on the actually, it's not even the OT. That's the Blue Spring Trail. We think maybe we'd be better luck on that trail finding Powder Mill. We have given up on the Powder Mill. We got some service, looked at it. I don't think we can get to it. We came across a little ways here to the trailhead for the Blue Spring Trail. And again, nice little parking lot, not a lot of spots, but not a lot of cars. We're coming up on Blue Spring. This is the 6th largest spring in the state of Missouri. It is the deepest at 310 feet deep. It puts out about 90 million gallons?
Yeah, 90 million gallons.
Jeez, that's a lot of water. The natives used to know it as the spring of the summer sky, which is a really cool name. Today it's just called Blue Spring. So we found this big board up here, and it actually has changed it from the 6th to the 8th largest. And it's a little more specific by noting that it's 87 million gallons a day. This is incredible. So I understand why the natives called it spring of the summer sky. If you come around the backside, there's a trail that comes up the cliffside, and there's another overlook deck that you can stand and look right down upon it. But it's kind of overgrown. Back at the trailhead. It's a short little jog. We're not sure how many miles, but we think it was under 1. It's real short. Our next stop, we're at Rocky Falls, and this is a cascade. So Rocky Falls is made of a stone called rhyolite, and rhyolite is a molten rock. This was formed 1.5 billion years ago when molten rock was forced to the surface and cooled. Now it's so hard that the water hasn't eroded it, and it's a waterfall cascade. And it's such a useful hard stone. The mills in this area, some of the ones we're visiting, actually used this rhyolite stone as the millstone. We're up on the bluff. So from Rocky Falls, you can hop on the trail. And this is the Ozark Trail. We're headed to Klipzig Mill from here. It's a 3-mile one-way, 6-mile out and back hike. Done. If you don't mind getting your feet wet, then this is a decent trail for you. If you don't like crossing creeks, maybe not. Because that back there, I think, what do you think the deepest part? Maybe 8 inches?
Yeah, I was gonna get 8 inches at least.
So,
we're late spring.
Yeah, this is the 29th of May. And I might add, the bugs have not been too bad. There's lots of bugs, but nothing's bothering me. We're in this meadow, and it's got pine trees surrounding it. It's very peaceful. You're just out here on your own. You gotta follow the highway just a little bit there. Get past the creek and the bridge. There's a grove of pines. You see this post? And then you'll see the blaze on this tree. The best protection from forest fires is fire. Prescribed fire. We're up on a nice bluff here. Got about 0.3 miles left till we get to the destination. And of course, this is an out and back, so we're gonna turn around and come back. So we'll be doing all this same trail over again. Woo. We got some cascading falls over behind us. There's this awesome pool that's the clearest I've seen. I can see all the way to the bottom, and it looks really deep. I honestly just feel like jumping in right now, but I don't want to be wet. Fish! I see fish! Ah, I see it too! Could you see this as a national park? The scenery we're at right now? Does this feel national parky?
Crystal clear stream.
It's a heck of a state park. I think it's definitely national preserve for sure. But park? Full park status? Not this alone. We could camp here.
No.
This is our next destination. This is where we've been hiking to. This is the Klipzig Mill. Walter Klipzig in 1928 built a sawmill here. We're gonna go inside. See if we can. Oh wow. It's not much. Not much here. This is where the shaft would come up, spin this. The turbine would be down there. This is a sluice and turbine mill. This is known as a sluice, where the water would be diverted in. And then it would go down that shaft that I was talking about from the inside. The water will spill down in there and spin a turbine at the bottom that we're gonna hike down to. Walter Klipzig was a Prussian immigrant. Well, his father was. And he was the only and first in the area to use barbed wire, which is kind of just a little fun fact. I'm trying to figure out how to get into the turbine room, or the chamber.
Well, it's inside that concrete.
Yeah, the water came out somewhere, and that's what I was looking for. I figured it out. This little chamber here is where the water came out, but they filled it in with concrete to reinforce the structure. Water would have spilled through there, gone out to the water there. It would have been important to this community later on when they put the turbine inside. It was enough to provide electricity to most of the community. It's like a big playground. We've been down in the water, walking around, sliding. I almost fell like 5 times, but it's so cold. It's so refreshing. It's been an awesome place to have as a destination on our hike. Let's head out of here. Let's go. Flightcheck Mill is beautiful. Absolutely recommend coming to this little bitty mill out here. It's an old lumber mill. You don't have to hike all the way 3 miles. You can drive up to it.
As you can see behind us.
Yeah, we chose to hike because we wanted to get a good little hike in on the Ozark Trail, so it's accessible. There's a gravel road. We're at the trail split that I had missed earlier. We've traveled 30 miles to the southeast, and now we are at our last destination for the day. We've already stopped by and got our campsite set up and reserved. Now we're just enjoying our day. This is Big Spring. It's the largest in the state. It is arguably one of the top 3 largest in the whole country. It puts out 286 million gallons a day. It collects water from up to 40 miles away. It's huge. We're gonna get up closer and see it. Big Spring is clearly a more developed part of the park. They've got these nice stone paved sidewalks. They've got playgrounds. There's a lot of campsites. It just seems a little more manicured. I've mentioned before why this water is blue. It's because of the dissolved dolomite particles. It's the same thing that happens in glaciers. It makes the water blue. However, 173 tons of dolomite get carried away by this spring alone every single day. parts to Big Spring. Part of it's right down below us on this trail, down here. And then the main part is back where we were. This trail continues, but you can see the whole spring from here. I don't know what to say.
I don't either.
I was gonna say something, and I don't know what to say. That's a lot of force. I know why it's named Big Spring. We're back at our campsite. We are done for the day. Got over and saw Big Spring and drove into Van Buren, drove around, looked at some stuff, got some things we needed. But we're pretty much done for the day. We're getting our fire going and we're gonna have our dinner here. But we've seen everything we came to see. We've got to decide whether we think this is actually worthy of being a national park, or should it be a national park. The qualifications for national park kind of loose. I mean,
They vary so much. They had a huge argument back in the middle part of the 1900s about the Everglades, because there was no canyon, there was no mountain, there was no actual river, there was nothing but what they perceived as a swamp. And they made a park anyway because of the animals, and that changed the definition of what is a park. I think it's something that's fluid and it's always moving.
you know, the springs are one of the biggest things. The rivers are beautiful. You have the hills. We went and saw elk. There's wild horses here. I don't know, there's a lot here. There's a lot to do. They've got a lot of camping. Some parts of the park are well prepared to handle people. Like, this is a huge campground that we're in, and it's probably only got about 20 at most people here. The back half of it's not even open and being used.
I think this campground we're in right now has more spots than any campground in Rocky Mountain National Park.
Possibly. So they're well, they could do it. They could be a national park, and they could probably handle the crowds. The wildlife is strong. A lot of good wildlife to see.
I think it checks all the physical boxes of is it beautiful, is it scenic, is it full of animals and wildlife. I think it checks all those boxes. I think it would benefit strongly from having the park label. In some ways, it could use with the funding to updo roads, to updo trailheads, rehabilitate some parts of the park that are visited, but they're just not as aesthetically pleasing as a park would be. There's not many places in America like Blue Spring or Big Spring. Those are two places that just, you're not going to find them.
Well, and they're all so close. They're so concentrated that you can see Round Spring, Blue Spring, Big Spring, all sorts of these. One after the other. There's caves, there's the cavern. It's a concentration of things, and I think I agree, it deserves the nature, the features deserve to be a national park. They're up to the quality. But the question of should it be is another question. We're trying to go to Glacier. We've been to Rocky Mountain. You know, in Arches they shut the park when the line gets too full, and it's wonderful that people are interested in the parks. But at the same time, it's hard to get to some of the parks. You know, we have serious concerns about how we're going to camp in Glacier. Are we going to be able to get to do going to the Sun Road? And that kind of popularity and influx in people almost makes some of the national parks inaccessible to a lot of people. So I don't want this to become like that, obviously, and I don't think it would.
And I don't think the locals want anything more than what it is.
I agree. I see, when we were at Dairy Shack, I saw a really rich local community coming out, eating at a local restaurant. You know, they come down here, they put their boats in, and it's theirs. And coming and experiencing it like this I don't know that I would want to see it become a national park. I think it's got a charm.
It's well protected. We've seen a lot of rangers. They're out, they patrol, they do their job. It's set up pretty well.
So I think my ruling is that it should not be a national park. I think it should be just what it is, because I've loved it exactly how it is.
I think it's logistically hard to create a national park in this year, in these times, around a river, or in this case a river and another branch of another river. Because you have so many people that have already settled, they're already here, they live here. And to make this a national park, you'd have to really grow, really expand the land owned by the government. And like we said, I think it's just perfect the way it is. It's already protected. I think that it would hurt the community more by expanding the grounds and changing highways. I don't know that it's going to benefit it much.
So we hope you've enjoyed. It's been a really fun weekend. Some of this I didn't even know was down here. A lot of it I've seen for a very long time and wanted to see, so it's been really fulfilling for me. So let us know what you think. You can comment and say whether you think this should be or should not be a national park. I'd like to see other opinions on this. So that's our trip.